Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today we're going to look at some recent sales for vintage Star Wars figures. I've got some baggies, some department store multi-packs that were really interesting, some loose graded, some loose complete, kind of a nice mix here of recent sales, both auctions and buy it nows on eBay. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. They allow this channel to be what it is today. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up for as little as $1 a month. All right, let's go ahead and take a closer look. Pretty nice assortment here. This one snuck under the radar, but I don't think I would have sent this out to my Patreon members as a buy it now alert because it was a little expensive. It did sell though. It had 58 watchers on it and it did sell. This was an AFA 85 vinyl cape Jawa, 3,000 pounds, which equates to $37.26 US. We've seen prices all over the map for vinyl cape Jawas. I really think it just depends on who's looking, if they really got to have one, if it's a new case, archival like this one, or if it's an old case or a UKG versus AFA. But it was a beautiful item. Don't get me wrong. It was really nice. It was just a smidge high, in my opinion. I think I would have probably sent it out to them if it was in that $3,300 to $3,500 range. For reference, about a little over a year ago now, I sold an AFA 85 old case style for like $3,350, $3,250, somewhere in that ballpark. So this one's got the new case style, archival case, and it did sell at $37.26. So that's one of the higher prices we've seen for a very high grade vinyl cape Jawa in a while, but it was a beauty in all fairness. LM Lane, this seller had a dark brown haired Luke Farm Boy. This is the dark brown hair, I believe, Hong Kong COO. And, it did have some yellowing, unfortunately, to the legs and arms, but that dark brown haired Luke is something about that one that I really like. This one sold in an auction and it closed at $180. So that's not bad. I mean, it is what it is. It's probably about a 70 plus 75 grade at best just because of the yellowing. But typically in near mint condition, ungraded, they can be $350 to $450. High grade AFA graded examples, I've seen anywhere from $800 to $1,000, depending on the grade and things like that. So I know that Chris W. over at Rogue 5 Toys had an AFA 85 that he sold for around $1,000. I have an uncirculated 85 for one of these figures, and that's about what I paid for mine many years ago. I overpaid for mine, but this one obviously had some issues, so it did sell for relatively cheap. Here was a Blue Snags. One of you guys, I don't know who it was, but one of my Patreon supporters did pick this up because I got the eBay affiliate credit for it. So whoever you are, thank you very much for buying this in an auction. This one sold for $355. Pretty good example for what it is. Obviously had some hand wear and some paint wear here and there on the boots, but it was one that had no torso discoloration on that Blue Snags, probably about a 75 would be my guess on this one. This one sold for $355, very fair and almost right in line with where I expected it to sell. I think it was around $260 when I sent out the buy it now or the auction alert, letting my Patreons know that, hey, this auction's ending. It's at $260. I expected to go for more than that in case you want to bid, and one of y'all did bid. So thank you very much again for using the affiliate link. On the other end of the spectrum was this one. This was an uncirculated 85. So somebody sent in the sealed baggie that came in that Cantina, action playset or whatever. And they removed it from the baggie and graded it. So it's got the uncirculated 85 designation, toe dent on boots for that one. And this one has no torso discoloration whatsoever. Old case style, uncirculated 85 from AFA. That one sold for $19.50. That's a big number, but uncirculated 85. I can't imagine there's a ton of them on the census for that. So it is what it is. That's what somebody was willing to pay in a buy it now, admittedly. Next up was the long eye tubes AFA 85 for the Tusken Raider. This is one that continues to drop in price. We saw them around $290 back in December, and then we saw one for $190. And then now this one sold, maybe $260 down to $190. Now this one sold in an auction for $171 $278.50. So this one is dropping like a rock. If you're looking for the long eye tubes Tuscan Raider, now's a pretty good time to get it, because every single time I cover a high grade AFA 85 for this particular variant, the price keeps dropping. So I'm not sure you can do much better than $171.50. That seems like a really fair deal. On the other end of the spectrum was this AFA 90 Taiwan Boba Fett, old case style as well, and it's sold for $1,056. That is a big number. I believe AFA/CIB had an AFA 90 new case style that sold in an auction for around $950, somewhere in that ballpark. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments as you're leaving me a like if you enjoyed the video. Yeah, this number really surprised me. I did not expect it to get this high, but it did sell at $1056 in an auction, 30 bids. That one closed on January 4th. This seller had some beautiful baggies that I wanted to cover. So this was a heat sealed baggie for the Stormtrooper. That one sold at $162.50. Really, all of these sold for very fair prices, in my opinion. The Greedo, that one also sold for $162.50. The Walrus Man sold for $178. So again, not a bad deal at all on any of these heat sealed baggies. I thought those were all very fair. Then we start getting into maybe some that are a little bit tougher to find, like the red snaggletooth. I feel like the red snaggletooth baggie is not nearly as common as the Greedo or the Walrus Man or the Hammerhead baggie. And the price reflected that. It was a little more expensive. It was, let's call that about 20% more expensive at $207.50. Still within range of where I'd pay. The Tuscan Raider is another one that's very difficult to find in a baggie. This one is a tape seal baggie. You can see the tape there. Very clean. Very gradable condition. That one sold for $226.50. That's a number I would have paid in a heartbeat. It really, any first 12 character that's in a baggie, I for some reason covet it. I just really like the early figures in baggies. I just think that you just don't see them all that often. The AT-AT driver is another one that's very difficult to find in a baggie. I think it only came in certain multi-packs. And this one was in pretty clean condition overall. This one is also a tape sealed baggie, which makes it very difficult as well. A lot of tape sealed baggies come loose or they get retaped and they kind of fake it. So when you find a legit one like this one appears to be, they do tend to command a little bit of a premium. $251.50 on that one. One of my Patreon supporters did get this tape sealed baggie for Leia Hoth. That's another one you don't see very commonly. $246.50 is right in line with what I'd be willing to pay for a Leia Hoth baggie. So I thought that was very fair. And you compare this one. This one was a tape sealed baggie ungraded for $246.50. That exact same baggie that was graded UKG 85% just sold in a buy it now situation for 473 euros, which is 487 US dollars. So that gives you a nice comparison as to the discount on this one. Now, will this get an 85? I don't know. Probably not. Probably it's more like an 80 or an 80 plus, but $246.50 versus $487 for the UKG graded baggie for the same character. Some last 17 figures. We had a UKG 85 new case style for Amanaman. That one sold in an auction. Only one bid on this one, but it did sell for 320 euros, which is 330 US dollars. That's a pretty fair price, really, given that, at least over here in the US, you can often see loose, complete, near mint, ungraded Amanaman sell for pretty close to that price. I mean, it's pretty interesting, the dichotomy between some of the last 17 figures over here in the US versus over in the UK. I feel like Amanaman's a lot cheaper over on the other side of the pond, but that one did sell at $330. Same seller also had this beautiful new case style UKG 85 for Luke Stormtrooper. It's every bit of an 85. Beautiful figure. If there's any flaws with it, I don't see them. I mean, it's a very, very clean looking figure. I don't really see any discoloration or color difference between the torso and the limbs. Maybe slightly. It's a very slight discoloration to the arms and legs versus the torso, but it's so minimal. The hair looks perfect on that one, just like my hair looks awfully perfect. Wouldn't you agree? What little I have. This one did sell in an auction. 12 bids, 615 euros, which is $633. I'd pay that price in a heartbeat. I thought that was a very fair deal. Next up, some Lili Ledy's. Vaults of Yavin had this AFA 80 plus Lili Ledy 8D8. That one did sell at $400. Big number there. Probably a little higher than I'd be willing to go for the 8D8. It's not terribly hard to find the 8D8 Lili Ledy, but it is hard to find one where the silver paint has not been rubbed off. For some reason, the Lili Ledy 8D8, the silver paint on the legs always rubs off. So I can understand someone just pulling the trigger on it. This I thought was also a pretty good deal. This was a CAS 80 plus removable hood Jawa Lili Ledy. So I thought that was a pretty nice example. It was listed at $1,400 and it did sell after a couple of days. Again, even in the Facebook groups, $1,200 to $1,400 for an ungraded, complete Lili Ledy removable hood Jawa is the norm right now. So I don't think that was an overpay whatsoever. Very fair price there. A yak face. This was an AFA 85 plus archival case. This one did sell in an auction for $1,000. I thought that was very fair, just given some of the AFA 85s and the AFA 90s that we've seen recently that have gone for $1,600 to $1,800 for an AFA 90. This AFA 85 plus, it's one half scale lower than that AFA 90, and you're getting it for, let's call it about 60% less. So I don't think $1,000 for an AFA 85 plus yak face archival case, new case style. That's probably about right, quite honestly. Next up, I've got some multi-packs that were really interesting. This was a UKG 85% department store 4-pack, but all 4 of the baggies were mains. They were main characters, first 12 figures. And the interesting thing is, too, is that the baggie styles are different in them. And that's, I guess, just how they were packed in. I don't know much about department store multi-packs, but you have 2 different baggies you got one baggie type that is the same for Vader and for Han Solo. It's the Kenner with the square logo and then the Made in Hong Kong. You have a Made in China baggie for the Luke Farm Boy, and then you have a different Made in Hong Kong baggie for Princess Leia. It's just interesting how you would think that for a department store multi-pack that the baggie types would all be the same. But that's not always the case, and that's true for a lot of these. I've seen like an Ewok 3-pack where the baggie styles are different for the baggies that are included inside these multi-packs. So this was graded UKG 85%. I did send this out to my Patreon supporters. I don't know if one of y'all bought it or not, but it sold very shortly after I sent it out. 2,400 pounds, which equates to $3,000. I honestly, if I had the money, I gotta believe that I would buy that, because when have you ever seen this? I have never seen this particular 4-pack before, and I just think it's really cool that it's a Return of the Jedi multi-pack, but all 4 characters included are first 12 figures. So that's a very cool, unique 4-pack that really caught my eye, and I'm glad that someone was able to pick that up. Finally, this is a really interesting one. These were like bulk. These were a bulk pack, and I don't remember. It was Woolworths. Woolworths had these 8-packs, and literally they just shoved the baggies inside of a larger baggie, and it was special buy 8 Star Wars figures for 99 pence. And they were all just shoved in this big baggie. And so in this case, the outer baggie had broken loose. It was a tape-sealed baggie. But the baggies for the figures were still intact. And so somebody sent it to UKG to be encased. And so you had these 8 particular baggies, but they gave it a no grade. Okay, so I don't know what the ruling is on that. If it's because the outer baggie for the Woolworths multi-pack is no longer tape sealed, that would be my guess on it. It's very rare to see these that are still sealed. I've seen a couple of them in collectors' hands on Facebook. Oftentimes they have featured listings or featured parts of my collection type posts in the Facebook groups, and I have seen a few of them that are still sealed, but it's very rare. It's very rare. Most of them have broken loose at this point, but they were available at Woolworths apparently over in the UK for 99 pence. You got 8 figures, 8 baggies included, and I just thought it was a really cool multi-pack. Very, very rare, and it was no grade, but it was also listed for, I thought, a very fair price of 900 pounds, which is 1,100 US dollars. And again, it's just really difficult to value something like this, but just judging by the examples that I've seen on Facebook, either for sale that are like this but ungraded or unencased, I think that price was very fair. It's just a very, very rare multi-pack that you don't see very often. Even if it's not graded or not, you got a great display piece. This is a piece of collecting history that you don't see very often, and that would be a nice centerpiece for a baggie collection. Anyway, that's all I really had for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave me a like if you did enjoy the video. Thanks again, and I'll be back soon.